Hi, everyone, and welcome back to my show at Heart and Soul Connected. My name's Allie, and I'm happy to be with you again today. I'm going to talk today about spiritual growth and what three components that, out of many, would be very important for everybody to do. Spiritual growth is not linear, it isn't in a straight line. There are things that we do, we get to a certain level, and then life sort of keeps us away, or we have a family, we have a career, we have a job. We don't get to practice the things that we'd like to practice. And so, it stops, it starts, it stops, it starts, it goes this way, it goes that way. It's not linear. It's all over the place. It's circuitous. It's labyrinthine. It's absolutely the way it just always is. No one's ever in a straight line. Time isn't straight, and neither is spiritual growth. So if you can think about your spiritual growth and how you can be patient, compassionate, and willing to have your heart open for the things that will come to you in spirit time, it's going to be in good stead for you, so you won't be so frustrated when something doesn't happen in quite the same time frame as you expected it to. Now, that isn't to say that it happens negatively or that it is not something that escalates over a period of time. It's all individual, of course, but comparing yourself to the way someone else does something, or comparing yourself to those who you really admire and think, oh, I could never be that thing. I'd like to give you a little bit of information about that, and hopefully you can ponder on it and see if it means anything to you. So when I was in high school many years ago, I knew I wanted to go to college and I wanted to be a teacher. It was something that I just had a burning desire for ever since I was a freshman in high school. And so my grades were but I was so busy doing all these other things at the time that it wasn't commanding my attention, and it wasn't commanding the way that I wanted to be at the time, because, I was a kid. So I ended up going to college. And when I get to college, I was, fairly well known in high school. But when I got to college, I became the president of the student body. I was in student senate. I was in sorority. I was doing plays. I was doing this. I was doing that. I was doing all manner of everything. And my grades still didn't do very well. So my dream at the time was not to be a teacher anymore of 5th through 6th grade, but to be a professor. That was something that I aspired to. And my grades weren't going to ever get me there. And I knew you had to have a master's degree as well if you ever wanted to teach at the college level. And you had to be very, very good, very, very well versed in your topic. So I dropped out of school before I finished graduating my undergraduate degree, and I start banking. And I'm saying, well, if I taught at the high school level or at the junior high level, I'd be still making about the same amount of money as I'm making here. I think I started out at making a little under $6,000 a year. It was 1980. What can I tell you? Fast forward very far. And I have my family. I've moved several times. I'm in my 40s. And something comes up that says, oh, you can get a master's degree in liberal arts, and you can learn about this, and you can learn about that. That sounds wonderful. But my grades, I did get my undergraduate, so that did happen. But what I'm getting to is I went back to college, and I was a straight A student at the time, and I loved it. It was electrifying for me. And with the degree, I was able, finally, some 20-something years later, to be a professor. And, I would have thought it to be a completely impossible thing. And yet there it was. And wish my parents were there to see it. And so, but I know they see it anyway. But what it was patience, compassion with myself, and an open heart to realize there are possibilities out there for us that we don't know anything about, and we think that it's going to be impossible for us to do it, but it can present itself in a really wonderful way. This is the same thing with spiritual growth. You finally decide that you're really interested in something, and maybe you come on YouTube, or you buy a book, or you go to a conference, or there's something, and you're just mesmerized by it, and it's like you can't get enough of it. But then you also say to yourself, I'm not quite sure if I can do this job, or, I'm not as good as that person. How could I ever be a person that could read cards? How could I ever be a person who could be a spiritual counselor, who could do the Akashic records, that could be a medium? That I wasn't born that way. And so I don't think I can ever do that. Think again. You absolutely can. You absolutely can. Because whatever you hold in possibility, what you then think, you become. And so stop the negative and stop wondering what's around the corner, because it's the journey that we're here to enjoy. And we don't have to think out there. We only have to think here, because it is a circuitous journey as we go along. Joseph Campbell, the great mythologist, talks about the hero or the heroine's journey and how the cycles of life go around and around. And each of those is superimposed upon other cycles of life that we live. Each and every time, we are the hero in our own story. And many people feel, oh, hero? No, I didn't save somebody from a burning building. I didn't, I wasn't in a war and saved my troops. It doesn't have anything to do with that. A hero in your own journey is someone who lives an authentic life, focuses on what they want, not what they don't want, and moves into that wonderful space where they can then unfold to be the person they were meant to be, the one they contracted themselves to be. And if that is only, and I put quotes around it because there's nothing that's only, you being a light worker, you interacting with people in the chats, you coming in and experiencing what it is that you're interested in, those things are needed. Everyone needs the light. And as you progress in there, you become a point of light that's huge for your community, your state, your country, and the world. So there is no better job than another, and there is no better person than another. We must remain humble and remembering that which comes to us isn't from us. It's from Source. Source brings to us what it is that we can share with other people. So in reality, our spiritual journeys are often filled with twists and turns, detours, and dead ends. It's a winding path, and that sometimes leaves us feeling very lost or very uncertain. You can never have enough tools in your toolbox. There's always something you can learn. As someone who has probably had in the physical realm 60 to 70 different types of jobs, I can tell you that each one has made me more valuable to myself in how I see the world and how I move through the world, even though all of those jobs had nothing to do with each other in a lot of cases. But what they did do was prepare me for the world that I lived in and the world that I would live in much later in my own life. Does that mean you have to have as many jobs as I did? Or no, you are you. You do you. You don't do anyone else but you. You be authentic. If you're getting feelings of frustration and confusion, it can be very intense. You can feel very lost. Am I really doing the right thing? Is this where I really need to be? It's like we're driving on a road that's undergoing construction or reconstruction. There's tons of potholes in it, roadblocks, detours. And we're thinking, why are we not getting where we want to be? Or why is it that this happened that took away what needed to be done? For instance, once I was led to watch a YouTube channel and listen to what the person was saying, and the person was talking about how Reiki changed their journey, that it made them come through and be a lot more able to do their intuition, use their intuition. And so I said, why not? Why not? When I was in my 30s, I decided to go into Kempo karate. I decided that I was going to try this, and it improved my health. It improved my mobility. It improved my tatien, my strength in my core. It improved my ideas, Chinese philosophy. It all led me right down to where it was that I ended up going when I took my first master's program. We talked about everything that was so fascinating. We talked about Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam. We talked about world literature. We talked about US literature. We talked about the Enlightenment days and many, many, many other topics that were all part of the curriculum at the time and provided me with a vast understanding, a broader understanding of the world. Does everybody need to do that? Absolutely not. But I have done a video on the value of humanities, and I say that unequivocally, it helped me a great deal. And that's where I turned to when I was thinking to myself, oh, I wonder if I can do this. I wonder. I don't think I can. Oh, if you don't try, you don't know what you can do. And you can't think you can't, because that means you can't. So we feel like we're not measuring up. Sometimes we feel like we're falling behind. But we all face our own unique struggles, our own unique challenges on the path. And we also have a lot of people that say to us, for instance, oh, I don't know how she knows that stuff. She didn't know that stuff before. All of a sudden now she knows that stuff, or he. And, you know, we can learn and we can grow and we can change. Another challenge that we face is the pressure to have some kind of spiritual milestone or level of enlightenment. We want to reach this level. It's so important we get up here and that we stay here. Guess what? We fluctuate. Some days we don't feel good. Some days we're tired. Some days we don't have enough water in our system, or we're traveling, or we have some sort of physical malady that we have to handle. We go through not only a circuitous route, but we go through ups and downs. And sometimes we actually steer right ahead, as I spoke about in the idea of flow. And Csikszentmihalyi's information from his book. Spiritual growth isn't about achieving a status. Here's the drill, and I've already said it once in the video. It's the journey that matters, not the destination. A lot of people don't understand that. Once I have this, then I'll be able to do this. No. You got to start thinking you can do it now. And you got to start enjoying that now before you get somewhere out there. Because if you're putting it somewhere out there, that's where it's going to stay. We get closer and it keeps moving further from us because we are not prepared for that. Spiritual growth is a process that happens in many, many stages. There are times of rapid progress, times of stagnation, and times of regression. In other words, we may step back and one day we can't do something that we were able to do before. We have some sort of a blockage, or there might be just an ebb and flow, as I mentioned, in our health or in our vitality. It's all part of the journey. Every part is there to teach you something more. It's all there for you to understand where you're going and to rely more on yourself than anybody on the outside. You too can do whatever it is that you decide you can do, but you must know you can and live as if you can, always. Patience and resilience are the key, especially in times of turmoil. We had a lot of people who had to really be resilient during the lockdown 5 years ago. We have a lot of people right now that have to be resilient to the ebb and flow of the culture wars and the things that are going on in the world that are not pleasant. The fluctuations in the market, the idea of more money, losing jobs, having family issues. We have to have faith that we're exactly where we need to be and be there. Show up. The realization of allowing yourself to simply be is a major wake-up call for us. It is being mindful of the now, and it changes everything for you if you can get to that point. Eckhart Tolle has a book called The Power of Now. And he also has one that's called Stillness Speaks. They're beautiful, beautiful books that try to hone in on how you can collect yourself in the now and how you can move into that space and make room for whatever it is that you're wanting to grow. So surrender is important. You need to let go of your need to control the outcome, because as you go along in your journey, you're still progressing toward the outcome. It just isn't going to get there any faster than it's going to get there. You can't push this. It's not pushable. And when you try, more obstacles can oftentimes come up because you're trying to make a round peg fit in a square hole or the other way around. You're not aligned with the way it's supposed to work. Find the moments of joy in simple moments and appreciate the beauty that you see in the present moment. And also remember to instead know and trust that you are exactly where you need to be, and that the growth that you're going through is not a straight line. And that's okay. So if you've had a similar experience with spiritual growth, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. I would love it if you would come over and check out my channel and some of the other things. I have live shows. I have these short videos on topics, and you might see one or two shorts out there as well. And I love collaborating. And if you're a new channel or you haven't been showcased, please reach out to me at heartandsoulconnected@gmail.com and ask for a collab, and I will introduce you to the community. That's what I came here originally to do. And then everything else unfolded over time. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day.